All right, thank you for staying with us. Of course, it's still business Rendezvous on Independent Television. I've got an economic expert talking about Mr. Austin Adigwe, all the way from Warren Delta State. Good morning, Mr. Austin.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Trust you had an amazing night rest.
Yes, we just have to attempt to do that.
You didn't join the protest?
Of course, in body and spirit, I'm with the protest.
Okay, all right. So let's talk about the protest now. We're looking at it from an economic aspect, and you, as someone who is an authority in that area, you'll be able to help us to look at the issues really. Okay. Well, even though the NLC that is now in solidarity with ASU, even though they said, well, they don't intend shutting down the economy, it's just a peaceful protest, and we saw that yesterday. Hopefully, that will also be the case today, that it was peaceful and all of that. They also promised that businesses, that does not mean that businesses will shut down. Actually, in real sense, will businesses not really shut down, going by the number of persons that would have taken part in that protest, especially yesterday, and then what we are looking forward to today?
Well, there's no cost of freedom that is too much to bear. You will understand that Nigeria is now on a cliff of economic downturn. So in 2 days to get things right, I don't think will be much of a cost for the economy to pay. I also watched yesterday in my own area where I live in Lagos, there was no disruption. Okay. Businesses went on, transporters did their business, and the patriotic Nigerians that have the right vision for this country at heart actually protested to show their disdain to the dishonest behavior of this government. So businesses were not affected yesterday, and just like you mentioned, we hope it continues into today's protest.
Okay, Mr. Austin, in 2014, President Muhammadu Buhari, as a member of the opposition party then, actually criticized the then president, talking about Goodluck Ebele Jonathan over a strike action that was embarked upon by the same academic staff union of universities, talking about ASU. Well, ASU today is currently on strike. And what he said then in 2014, well, he said any government that, of course, will not take very, very seriously the situation concerning education sector, then, of course, that government definitely is not a serious government or shouldn't be taken seriously. And now it is happening under his own, under his watch, you know. I don't know. Do you think... hello?
So, Joe, we simply hold him to his own standards. We simply hold him to his own standards. He has already passed the judgment. This government, as far as I'm concerned, is a colossal failure. Because if you look at the content of those agreements, okay, the memorandum of action that was signed between federal government and ASU in 2020, these agreements were largely to improve the quality of education in Nigeria, the standard of what we find in our ivory towers. So, which responsible government will not key into that? And what are they asking for? What are they simply asking for? Make provision for 1.2 trillion to the universities to be released in phases. Okay. Would that have been too much for the ivory tower, higher institution that produces the skilled manpower that runs this economy? Would that have been too much for them to ask from government that has borrowed 39 trillion in seven and a half years? So I don't see why anybody in his right senses should not be on the side of ASU. We're talking about our future generation. Even the Constitution, under education objective, Section 18, subsection 1 says, government shall direct its policy towards ensuring that there are equal and adequate education opportunities at all levels. And if you go to subsection 3, subsection 3, I said government shall strive to eradicate illiteracy. So how do you eradicate illiteracy? By keeping the young ones at home for months. They are even in breach of the Constitution. So I'm in full support of what NLC has opted to do. We need to rescue our educational system. And this is happening because public officers don't have their wards in our schools. They have their children schooling abroad, so they don't give a damn. A university, how can university education be shut down in a serious-minded country since February? For how many months? And yet, the same Nigeria also signed on to Sustainable Development Goal 2030. And of course, education is part of it. How can we be taken seriously? So he has already passed judgment on his government. So we don't need to even emphasize much. It's just to play back that video for him to see what he's doing.
More or less like what goes around comes around.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, Mr. Austin. Well, the economy, like you know, is in a dire strait now as we speak. And this time, of course, the inflation hitting the rooftops, cost of diesel is nothing to write home about. Petroleum is beyond the reach of many. I mean, social service is collapsing, foreign exchange scarcity. I mean, the implication is that the average Nigeria is under huge economic pressure. There is a protest. 2 days now. It means that some businesses may not enjoy the normal patronage that they would have enjoyed if the protest, wasn't going to take place. What's the implication of that on the economy generally, as it were?
Like I did mention, humans are driven by expectations. And every business expectation in this country has actually been met with stiff resistance by the same government that is supposed to encourage and support these businesses. So the little you're making to support yourself in this harsh terrain would not be so much for you to give up for a better tomorrow. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Okay.
You have analyzed it all. You've mentioned every single problem that we're facing. In short, Nigeria has slid into stag inflation. Inflation that is rising and unemployment also rising at the same time. It's a very big conundrum. And this same government seems not to have any idea of how to pull this country out of this mess. So, in the web of all these crises, coming out to voice out our disdain, our frustration, coupled with insecurity that permeates the length and breadth of this country. I think this is needed. We cannot just continue to keep quiet because we don't want things to go bad, whereas things are sliding. Check chapter 2 of our Constitution. It says the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. The security and welfare. ASU is talking about welfare of their members, as well as the quality, the standard of education that we get in Nigeria. These are the issues with ASU. Now, every Nigerian is concerned about security. And yet, the same constitution that these people sworn into stated that security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose. Now, if you lose the primary purpose in life, what else is left? What moral justification do they have to still hold on to power if they cannot guarantee the welfare of Nigerians, if they cannot guarantee the security of this country, when non-state actors are running riot everywhere? So, please, businesses should understand that at some point, we will need this level of inconveniences. We've seen what happened in Sri Lanka. We've seen a couple of countries, that at some point had to say no to this level of hardship, to this level of hardship. This shouldn't be happening in the purported most populous black nation, to the purported giant of Africa. It shouldn't be happening. So NLC should continue, and if this government turn deaf ears, I'm in full support of that strike. Let the strike go on, because already they've run the economy down. There is nothing left.
Okay.
Look, a lot of bread is funny. I don't know how much goes in your area. Airlines are groaning under heavy costs, threatening to also down to. Everywhere you look at, everywhere you go to, is the same complaint.
Right.
And yet we are not seeing any deliberate effort towards resolving this. So please,
yes,
if
Mr.
you're
Austin.
running businesses, particularly those
Yes.
on daily pay, it will inconvenience you, but this just has to be done.
Okay. Mr. Austin, a quick one. Now, this is not the first time that ASU has been embarking on strike action. Okay, even NLC itself is not the first time. If at the end of the day, and most of the time that they've embarked on industrial action, it doesn't really yield more, you know. The last time that the ASU embarked on strike, it was a full academic session that was lost in that strike. Still, the demands were not met. And today, as we speak now, you know, they are still on another strike. So if at the end of the day, it's still the same old story, don't you think that this is just another effort in futility?
Well, it's not a justification not to try. What has happened in the past, the precedent that disloyalty has created in governance in Nigeria, is not a justification to be silent in the face of injustice, to be silent in the face of evil. We must continue to talk. Okay. Whether they will hear and act, or they will hear and ignore as expected, it is, you see, citizenship is not all about carrying your green card. It's all about playing your role. The reason why we have allowed leadership to degenerate to this level of moral, political, intellectual decadence is because we also have weak followership.
Okay.
We have enabled these people so much, forgetting that power belongs to the people. That is what the Constitution says. So we keep saying it's all right, let's just let things slide. It's because of that also that the leadership now feels that we are so dumb. We don't even understand. Nigerians, give them 2 days, they will wither off. We will continue. We will continue. Whether they listen to us or they refuse to listen to us, the message has been passed.
So as an economic expert, it doesn't matter what implication it has on the economy, even though NLC is also saying that, well, they are already planning a warning strike that will be kick-starting on Thursday.
Okay, so the question I also want to ask you is, the policy controversies, the mismanagement of this economy has brought us this far. So it doesn't matter that the government is deliberately, through their policies, desecrating this economy. It doesn't matter. What matters is the action we want to take to say no to all this. Look, like you rightly pointed out, is there even an economy to talk about in this country? Do we even have that economic system still running? We're just playing games and shifting the evil day. The way prices are escalating, in a very short while, people will begin to lose confidence in money. And that is the first real crisis that you will see. So whether you have a business or you don't have a business now, this is the right time to stand up and say no to all these ills that we have tolerated in this country. You can't tell everybody. You can't tell everybody. But you see, the little comfort we have now should not provide that platform for us to say, I would rather stay in this little comfort than speak up and get things right. We, the followers, we, the citizens, have responsibilities to participate. The Constitution made it clear that the participation of the people in their government shall be ensured in accordance with the provision of this Constitution. So, both the elected and the citizens have a duty. To this country. Right. So we must continue to speak up.
Okay. All right, Mr. Austin, Adigwe, all the way from Warri in Delta, say thank you so much for joining us. Time will not permit us to move beyond this point.
Okay, so I'm in Lagos, actually.
Okay, you have moved to Lagos.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Lagos, yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Austin Adigwe, an economic expert, helping us to look at the implication on the economy. I mean, the 2-day solidarity protest as declared by the Nigeria Labour Congress.